Good to have you with us this morning. So I just want to get your reaction, first of all, to this breaking news that Canada plans to recognise Palestine after the UK and France have already done so. What's your reaction to all of that?
Yeah, g'day, Pete. Look, Labor Friends of Israel have always had the same view of a goal as a two-state solution. We've always emphasised, though, that recognition of a Palestinian state has to come when you've actually got something that could be called a state, and that you use that step forward as diplomatic leverage. You don't waste that shot in the locker, so to speak. And it's encouraging to see there's been a recognition of that, and the government's been talking about conditions for that to happen. And Canada has also been saying that, as many of the other states have. The issue is that it should not just be commitments. What has to happen is that there's actual outcomes and delivery of that, and it can't happen while this war is continuing. Hamas has to be eradicated, and that has to be one of the points of leverage here, that there won't be a recognition until Hamas lays down its arms, releases hostages, and that a thoroughgoing, reliable process is in place to achieve a resolution of the whole issue that relates to establishing a two-state solution with cast iron security guarantees for Israel after what they've experienced on the 7th of October.
So would you be urging the Prime Minister to follow suit here and declare or resist?
I would say pause this, continue to use it as a diplomatic lever to achieve the outcomes we all want. I mean, we don't want to rush to create a so-called Palestinian state that'll just be a mirror image of all the train wrecks we see right around the Middle East and North Africa, with the exception probably of Morocco. And so, we need those goals to be concrete. Once they're achieved, then you step forward on recognition. And it really should be part of a peace process that Israel's participating in. Otherwise, where does this take us? It just becomes a meaningless gesture. And right now, it well and truly could be seen as a reward for the terror and horror that Hamas has imposed on its own population and on Israelis. So, that is sending a very bad signal, and we don't want to go down that road.
So do you think all these declarations at the moment are rushed, Mike? Firstly from France, then the UK, and now Canada?
Totally, Pete. I mean, they're misguided. Frankly, the key problem here is that you have a terrorist organisation, the most evil organisation on the planet, every bit as bad as the Nazis. I mean, you've got Sami Abu Zuhri, who's the political head of the department for Hamas for its overseas affairs. He did an interview just very recently where he said, look, we don't care about, how many people's lives have been lost in this war. They're all martyrs. They're all going to go to heaven. That's what we're all about. And he said, we've had 50,000 new babies in Gaza since this war began. So there's actually been a net growth, which is, a funny way to call a genocide, frankly, with all these people who are cluelessly lobbing into that. But, this is their mindset. And that's an evil that must be confronted and defeated, root and branch, as we did with the Nazis. And so, until we see them lay down their arms and hostages released, we shouldn't be talking about recognising a Palestinian state in this moment, in this context. Instead, focus on the things that we need to do to produce a solution that will deliver on security for Palestinians and security for Israelis.
I mean, I guess a reaction to all of that would be from folks who would argue that Israel needs to do more, first of all, to stop the famine and also to stop killing people, to stop killing civilians.
Okay, Pete, so the first thing is there is no famine. The international organisation that's responsible for categorising situations as famines hasn't done that in relation to Gaza. Certainly there are food shortages, and that's mostly related to the way Hamas uses food as a weapon. It is looting relief supplies, using it as part of its new business model to sustain it because they're choked off from support from Iran and Qatar. They're using it to bludgeon and really hold the population to ransom by, preventing them from wanting to use the Gazan Humanitarian Fund establishment because they know that undermines them. So they treat anybody who goes and gets food from that site as a traitor, and they strip them, beat them, kill them. They steal their food. So that's the real issue. It's Israel has been bending over backwards to try and find an efficacious model for distribution of relief. And that's part of Article 23 of the Fourth Geneva Convention, which says that a combatant power in these situations has every right to make sure that relief supplies are not falling into the hands of their enemy. So that's what they've been trying to do. They're not trying to starve, the people of the Gaza Strip. It's about getting it to the people that need it without Hamas using it for their own purposes. So that's the truth of the situation. They certainly have to revisit this model that they've been using with the GHF because it doesn't deal with the security situation for people ingressing and egressing those facilities. So they have to rethink that. And I know they are adjusting their thoughts now on how to make sure that food's getting out there as they try and defuse Hamas. But, people should be in no doubt that this is an incredibly evil organisation. They effectively have created a Hitler Youth-style regime, a Handmaid's Tale regime. If you're a progressive, you should have no truck with such a medieval, evil organisation like Hamas.
We'll have to leave it there, Mike, but appreciate your time this morning. That's Mike Kelly there, the co-convenor of Labor Friends of Israel. Thank you, Mike.